Hi, my name is Scott Nanamura, and we're here at TreeCasa Resort in San Juan del Sur, Nicaragua. We are focusing today on hand placement. Where do the hands need to go when the hands come down to the mat? Right? Typically, we hear the cue, place the hands directly below the shoulders when the hands come down to the mat in tabletop pose, downward dog, other positions, arm balancing, things like that. We will learn today that this is an incorrect cue, or the cue could be a little bit better. Let's see how we can make it better. We thank Juliette for being our model today. So we extend one arm. We find the acromion process at the top of the shoulder, the little bone that sticks out on top. We draw a straight line at the top of the bicep toward the inner eye of the elbow. How do you find the top of the bicep? You take the apex of the bicep, right? The highest point, and you draw a straight line from the acromion process to the bicep, the apex of the bicep to the inner eye of the elbow. That's one straight line. Now you make another straight line with the other arm from the acromion process to the inner eye of the elbow. Now you take these two lines, you line them up as if they're railroad tracks, where at any time the lines or these railroad tracks will never ever move apart from each other, or they will never go inward toward each other. Now, the reason that we line our arms up like this is because no one's arms are straight. From the head of the humerus down to the elbow, we can create a straight line with the humerus bone. But then from the elbow down through the ulna and the radius into the wrist and into the hand, there's always going to be a deviation outward in everyone's arms. So when we bring the hand inward and we line the hand up directly below the shoulder, the humerus bone is going to be angled inward and upward. When that happens, the head of the humerus will roll slightly out of the glenoid fossa. And then when you weight bear on top of that, there's an upward and outward shearing effect that happens in the head of the humerus or in the glenoid fossa. Only a third of the head of the humerus sits in the glenoid fossa. So it's not a true ball and socket joint like the femur, with the head of the femur sitting in the acetabulum. So we want the whole articulating head of the humerus to sit in the glenoid fossa. So we bring the arms parallel, especially the humerus bones, and we line them up in a straight line. Then we have Juliette flip her palms over. We have her bring her hands down toward the earth. And we keep our eyes on her humerus bone so they're completely vertical. Now, we look at the hands. When I have her bend her elbows and the tips of the elbows go back toward the back of the room, if you see the root of the index finger pop up, that means the elbow is pulling on the index finger in an imbalanced way, and it shifts the weight to the outer part of the wrist. This is why some people have wrist problems, inner elbow problems, and it comes into the front part of the shoulder. So how do we alleviate this? We lift the fingers just slightly, rotate on the heels of the hands to turn the index finger straight forward toward the front of the mat. Now she bends her elbows again to get the tips of the elbows to face back toward the back of the mat. And if you don't see the roots of the index fingers pop up, this line, the extension of the fingers are pulling in a straight line, not pulling the root of the index finger up. And that means it's not transferring the weight to the outer part of the wrist, the inner part of the elbow, and the front head of the shoulder. Now, this allows the wrist to glide smoothly, the elbow to glide smoothly, and the shoulder to glide smoothly. So what you do then, you look to where your fingers are on the outside of your mat. So her middle finger is on the outside of her mat. Every time her hands come down to the mat, in tabletop pose, cobra, upward dog, downward dog, arm balances, her middle finger needs to go toward the outer edge of her mat, and this will help to align her wrists, her elbows, and her shoulders. So this whole kinetic chain glides smoothly without any deviation from side to side. All right? It's different for everyone. So you need to set yourself up. You need to have someone else help you set this up for your hand position and placement. And then this will allow all these joints to be safe and happy. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.